has a little tiny hat.
I want to prove this animal's real. All right, so this is your host, Maya.
And this is Althea.
And this is our podcast, With Our Powers Combined. All right, here we go. Episode 20. That is a very fitting noise.
Spooky.
Spooky. We are in October. We are getting closer to Halloween. Mm-hmm. And although I personally do not really get into the spooky spooks because I'm a big baby.
I'm also a big chicken, so I cannot.
When we were thinking about this episode and when we realized it was going to fall, we have, as true OG fans would know, kind of a weird friendship origin story related to the spooky times.
Yes. Which is kind of funny that that's one of our like one of the things that brought us closer to each other.
I do think it's also interesting considering what I said 20 seconds ago, which is I'm not a spooky person. This was one of my openers to you, which is crazy. For anyone who doesn't know, in one of the first conversations we ever had, I was telling you about a person I know who doesn't believe in vampires, but does believe in Mothman, which is objectively insane because so many cultures have some version of a vampire, and Mothman has been cited in like 3 U.S. cities. And this friend was like, I believe in that with my whole heart.
And Maya was telling me this, and I was like, Mothman, what is that?
And I was like, exactly. Honestly, exactly. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are, and you're wrong.
You're wrong. Vampires are real.
And then from there, we said not only are they real, they're
also
my lawyers. Which doesn't that just feel correct, though?
It's just amazing. And I believe we created a picture of this vampire lawyer that you have, which also became my lawyer, because I was like, well, if you have a vampire lawyer, it's just fitting that I also do. If
you have a lawyer, it's rude not to share.
Yeah.
Lawyers are so hard to come by these days.
Especially if they're vampires.
They're even harder to come by because their hours are so weird and their headshots don't turn out good.
Exactly. If you try and use a flashlight, they just, they're invisible in the picture.
It's really rough.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get them, but you know what? They exist.
Yeah.
Vampire lawyers.
They do. They're real. They're coming for you. They're not. I'm not sending them on you. Anyways.
At 2 a.m. later. Watch out. You might get a call from our vampire lawyers.
Watch out if you don't give us 5 stars. But we were thinking about just kind of like from mythology kind of led us into cryptids, because cryptids are actually different than monsters. If you didn't know, I've got a definition for you. Cryptids are animals or other beings whose presence or existence is disputed or unsubstantiated by science. So you might hear it talked about as like cryptozoology, which is the study of cryptids. It is known as a pseudoscience because they are claiming that they may exist somewhere. And really the main like difference, if you're trying to get what's the difference between like a rare animal and like a cryptid, is biologists. They identify new animals, new species all the time, but they're specifically using the scientific method in order to discover them. Whereas cryptozoologists are usually focused more on like folklore, like in records of rumor.
Right.
So some really classic examples of cryptids, in case you didn't know, the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, the chupacabra, which is like a huge one.
Yeah.
Those are some classics that you've probably heard about in media, in TV shows, things like that. I want to know from you, apart from your vampire lawyer, were there any like cryptids or just like kind of myths in general that were popular in the Philippines or like your childhood, anything like that?
Yeah. Growing up, I believe there are a lot of that. Well, I didn't know that they were like called cryptids and stuff. I just know that they're like mythical creatures in the Philippines, but before the Philippines was colonized by the Spaniards, we actually have a rich like oral tradition of myths and folklore and animalistic animistic beliefs. My sister would know best, not me, but through her I was able to like hear stories and see the things that she would look at and research and all of those things. But I know that every ethnic groups across the Philippines, across the islands, had its own beliefs. So because there's so many kind of ethnic groups and they're their own groups, they have their own culture, their own religion, and all of those things. That's why we have a lot of names for gods in the Philippines. Like we have Bathala, Kanlaon, Gugurang, like a lot of things. And we also have a lot of like spirits and cryptid like creatures. So with that, I have listed 7 of them that I remember growing up. So I'll just list them for you because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Number 1 is aswangs.
That's the only one I know. We talked about this at Super Taqueria.
We did. We talk about aswangs, and they're shapeshifters. Honestly, they're you could kind of see that they're maybe like vampires, but they could be anything because they are shapeshifters.
They could be lawyers.
They can appear human by day, but turns into ghouls, wolves, animals, witches at night. So that's what an aswang is. It's like a generalized, oh, you're normal during the day, but when night comes, I don't know what happens to you. But
they just have friends like that.
Their main role is to scare children from wandering, explain like sudden illnesses like miscarriages and death, which is kind of interesting because I think why we have cryptids as well in culture is to explain things that are maybe unexplainable and to make sense of things that are like death.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, why do we die?
Yeah.
It's because there's a witch that's haunting me and all of those things, which is not true. But yeah, so that's one of them. We have a manananggal. Do you remember this one?
Is this the torso one?
Yes, this is the one.
I remember it because it was so upsetting.
Yes.
When you told me.
Usually, a manananggal is a woman, but I believe they could be a man too. But they detach from their torso and grows bat wings to hunt at night. Isn't that scary?
I remember you saying that, and you said that like you could like bully someone and be like,
yes, I'm like, one of them will get you. Yeah, but again, the belief of this, it's it's a cautionary figure. Really, I think a lot of this is to scare children into being obedient or just being a good person. And also it's a lot about pregnancy and childbirth. So yeah, a lot of like witchy thingies. There's a tikbalang, which is a half horse, half man kind of creature who tricks and confuses travelers in the forest.
You said that name, and I assumed it was something that sucked blood because I heard tick.
There is another one, which it's called the tik. I didn't have it here, but that one is a scary one too because it.
Is that's the one with the with the freaky.
Yes, it has a long like tongue.
Yes,
and it sucks blood. Specifically, I'm so sorry. This is. Disclaimer.
I do remember this one. Oh no.
So how I heard stories about tik-tiks is they're like up on top, like they would go on the roof and literally put their long tongue down to like pregnant women and literally eat their babies. And I'm so sorry if you're listening to this. Disclaimer, trigger warning. If you're pregnant,
I want to say that. This is a weird thing to say, but I've started the sentence. I'm a really good listener because we had this conversation legitimately 4 or 5 years ago. Yes. And I was like, isn't there one? And you were like, I was like, that's the one with the tongue.
And I know I'm correct. I'm Filipino. If I'm not, call me out. But yes, there's a tik-tik, which is also very scary.
Terrifying.
A tikbalang though will get you if you're in the mountains and just like running around. They're gonna tell you the wrong direction and just like veer you away from.
I like that you said it will get you, not it might. Like
it will.
Just be aware. If you're in the mountains, you're gonna get got.
You're gonna get got. I love that statement. Put that on a shirt. You're gonna get got. Okay, number 4 is kapre. I don't know if I have not seen the new Wednesday. Wednesday season in
I
Netflix.
also have not.
Shout out. I'm just kidding. But I believe they had a kapre. They had Filipinos in the new season. Yes.
It was that guy.
Yeah, I think it's a kapre. But anyways, a kapre is a cigar-smoking giant who sits on treetops. They do protect the forests. That's why they're there. So if you cut down trees and stuff, a kapre will probably get you.
Oh.
Which is, we love an environmentally friendly cryptid.
Hashtag stop deforestation. Or he's coming for you.
They're guardians of forests. They're guardians of trees.
Like an ant.
Yes. Okay. Number 5 is a bakunawa. They're pretty beautiful.
Yes.
They're sea serpents like dragons. They're from Visayan mythology. Mm-hmm. They're tied to like ancient lunar worship. Mm-hmm. They're believed to swallow the moon that causes eclipses.
Oh,
yeah.
That's fun.
They would be...
we needed a fun one.
Yeah, that's just a chill one. I think they exist to basically explain like celestial events that happen in the world before science,
That makes sense.
People would make noise to scare them away with drums and pots and stuff like that.
Why are we scaring away the moon guy?
Because they're also maybe a little scary.
I guess to be fair, you did say that they're eating the moon.
They are, and we need the moon.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Number 6 is just your regular like fairies and spirits. So we have a lot of different types, but they're called diwatas or encantos. Spanish. Shout out to you, Spaniards.
Shout out to the colonizers.
Yes, but they're like nature spirits who usually live in mountains, forests, ant hills. There's a thing, and Filipinos would know this, that if you're like walking around and boys who can pee anywhere. If you pee in like an anthill, you're supposed to say, or I don't know why I went to pee right away. It's because that's what I have in my head growing up. But you have to say tabi tabi po to an anthill, whether you're passing by or peeing, as I've said.
Well, I feel like you would definitely have to say it if you pee on it. I don't know what the words are that you just said, but I'm assuming it's some kind of like, hey, I see you, thank you, I'm sorry kind of deal.
Yes.
So I feel like, you should apologize if you pee on someone's
like,
home.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, tabi tabi po, like, excuse me, I'm here, attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should do that when you pee on anything. I think that's just polite.
You're just seeing my reaction to me saying things about pee.
This is a good episode, guys.
This is the best thing. Yes. So anyways, Filipinos would say tabi tabi po still if they're passing by an anthill. Most specifically for an anthill, and I don't know why. I think it's because we believe that like little tiny elves live there. So anyways,
that's the history of the expression like knock on wood for like good luck, is people used to think that there were like tree spirits in there because they were hearing the sounds of bugs in the trees.
That's why you knock on wood.
So you would knock on the wood to be like, hello, like I'm here. Like, you would say to me like, in case like the things in the trees was listening, be like, I'm here, please don't like cause me harm. So it could be something similar of like, you hear that there's something moving around in there, so you're like, fairies, please be nice to me, I'm here, don't trick me.
Yes, you're like, I don't want to offend you. Like, I'm just
sorry that I peed on you.
You're like, I'm just a guy. I'm just passing through. Maybe peeing. I don't know. Anyways, so they're more beautiful, like diwatas. I just don't know all of them. You can do your own research.
Yeah, look it up.
And then one of the things that I wanted to say as well, we have a white lady, which I think kind of every culture probably has some kind of form of a white lady. It's just a ghost.
Yeah.
But this one, a white lady, it's pale woman in white. That's why it's a white lady.
Yeah.
Often seen along roads or buildings or like abandoned places. And it's an embodiment of tragedy. So accidents, lost love, injustice. It's more of a modern folklore. And I do believe that maybe it's also tied to asadako from Japanese culture, but I don't know. I just know growing up that sadako is a huge thing in the Philippines, and that maybe escalated into white ladies, but I could be wrong.
Were any of those like growing up, was there one that you were like that you were strictly used to be like, hey, get it together or else kind of thing? Like, was that ever used on you as a kid?
On
Or
me
did
as
you
a
have any
kid?
friends who were like, Althea, I swear on my life I saw one today? Like, did you like any of those where like someone in your life used it or like kind of believed in it?
Yeah,
or
I
even
think-
you as a kid were like, I think I saw one.
Yeah, I am a chicken still. And I was a chicken, more of a chicken when I was a child. I was very gullible and thought that everything scary existed in the world, that we have ghosts and we have all of these things. And so literally they would tell me, I see you, my brother-in-law, Richard. I'm calling you out.
Full name drop.
Full name. Just, I'm calling you out.
Get him.
I got you, bro. He would scare me all the time. And he might have been like telling me all of these things when I was young. He would say, oh, there's an aswang there, or there's a ghost there, or did you see that? Or, you know, because we had like floors in our house, like different levels in our house. And so our room is on the second floor.
Ah.
And if you need to like turn off all the lights and then get to the top to the room, it's scary. And
Absolutely
so
not.
he would tell me that there might be aswangs or
Like
tikbalangs lurking in the shadows. So yeah, I don't think there's a specific one. Probably the white lady if we're at home, and then the other creatures when we're just running around. But yeah, I was very scared of them. I'm still scared of them.
I fear to this day. I do think it's funny because I do think that's really common with so many like cultures, that the folklore is very much like kid get it together.
Yeah.
Like I remember we like in our personal family didn't grow up with like a whole bunch of folklore, but my cousins did. And I remember I had a cousin come and visit one time and she was fussing at like her younger brother.
Yeah.
And she like told him like, you got to get it together or like the kakui's gonna come.
Right.
And she said it like very, and both of the kids are like,
It's,
no.
like,
And they
serious.
immediately like got freaked out. And I was like, who?
What's gonna come?
And then she told me about the kakui, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like Mexico's version of like the boogeyman. I mean,
Oh.
honestly, it's a lot. They call it the kakui. Sometimes they call it like la coco. Like there's different like names for it. But
Right.
growing up, they call it the kakui, so I call it kakui. And it's actually like the word for it like means skull. So it's like they have like a skull face, and it's like if you're misbehaving, the kakui's gonna come and take you away. So it really is like the boogeyman coming to get you. And I had never heard of it, didn't know anything about it, was then terrified. I wanted to know who was the skull man coming from my cousin. And I was like, who is this monster and why is he coming from my cousin? And then later asking my mom, and it was very funny because my mom like got like war flashbacks in her house,
Like,
where she was like, yes, I know what the kakui
Yes.
is.
Yes.
And then obviously a really like classic one is like the chupacabra, like I said, which means like goat sucker.
Yeah.
So that's, people like say it looks different. Kind of depends on like, some people say it's more like lizard like.
Yeah.
Some people say it's almost more like a really big like hairy scary like a coyote or something that comes and like, again, it was usually like more for like ranchers that it would come and like eat their goats, eat their things. But then also if you were outside, maybe it was going to come and get you too, which was kind of the alarm. And then also less cryptid but more like folklore is like La Llorona, the woman in white
Yes.
who's like haunting the weeping mother, who's
Yeah.
like haunting like more like riverbeds
Right,
and
right.
stuff, which I do think is interesting because like you said it a little bit, and I do think it's funny of like, yeah, like what's the reason behind
Right.
them, and being like, yeah, I think people
Like, why
like
we
there
have
must be
them.
something kind of rational behind it. And I do think it's interesting because like cryptozoology like literally means the study of like hidden animals. And it's funny, there was expert's always an interesting word
Yeah.
to use in this field, since unfortunately a lot of the people researching them are not people with any kind of like valid credentials. They're just guys being like, wouldn't it be crazy?
Yeah.
But it was like invented in the 50s, and it was trying to actually separate rare animals from monsters. And part of the interest so deep into the folklore was they were hoping that these monsters were animals, like were genuine animals who had been assigned magical powers.
Right.
So like an example of this would be like the questing beast. So this is something that you in like medieval literature, you'll read, like if you are familiar with Arthurian legend, that there were knights who were sent on quests to go and find the questing beast, and they would describe it. And a lot of people have since said, yeah, I think maybe it was like a giraffe. And they just had never seen a giraffe before, because they say that it had like the neck of a snake and it had like the body of like it, like, but there was like a body of like a horse, but like it was also like a leopard. And it's like, yeah, I think you just saw something with a really long neck with spots on it and you didn't know what that was. So you just mixed all the animals together.
Right.
And then people were like,
describing things
and
that
they were
are
like,
already familiar.
It's a
to
giraffe.
them. Right.
So there was also, I think, like this hope of like jackalopes, of like, it's like maybe it's the mix of something. And it's like kind of this hope of like, if we peel back enough of the mythology, we're going to find an actual creature that really does.
That's like
is
a rare
something.
Magical.
Yes. Because that's even like with like a chupacabra, there's been people who have thought that they've spotted it and reports have come and they're like, no, that's just a really big coyote.
Yeah.
Or like, no, that's just like a really mangy dog. And they're like, or it's like a giant lizard, but it's one that we already know exists. But they get like, maybe I found it. And they're like, nah, that's just an animal. So I do think that's really interesting that that exists. And I am always intrigued with the fact that there's so much like, get it together.
Yes.
Like, when this thing's going to get you.
Yeah. I do love that as humans, we love to like create stories for things that like we can't explain. That we have like like a giraffe, like now it's so normal to us. Yeah. But because it's so unfamiliar to them, at that point, like
some white dude in the 1400s had never seen a giraffe.
Like a neck like a snake. It's just like, oh yeah, it does make sense if in context you're thinking about it. Like, yeah, if I was the first person to see that, like what would I have done? Yeah. So I do think it's interesting how cryptids could come from a place like that. Yeah.
And that is really common, is if you look at a lot of descriptions of them, it's something mixed with something. And honestly, it usually comes because it's so much of like what you said, like oral tradition. Yeah. Is it someone saw something. Yes. And it's like, I saw something and it was dark. And I think it was like a weird looking deer thing. Like it kind of looked like a deer, but like it wasn't a deer. And then like, what do you mean? You're like its antlers were weird and its legs didn't move quite right. And then later someone sees like an elk, like instead of like a deer, they see a moose and they're like, yeah, it was kind of like that. And it's like, it starts to spread. And then what really happened was that guy just saw a moose for the first time. But it gets passed along and the story keeps changing. Right. And now we have the Jersey Devil, which is like a horse, like donkey thing with bat wings, because it's like, oh, we've gotten so far and we've added so much, and maybe it does this, and how did it get away? Well, maybe it got away like, and it starts to grow. I mean, that's even like the Kraken, like the idea, it came from giant squids. And people were like, what is that? It's some horrible sea monster. And you're like, correct. Yes. It is a horrible sea monster. But like that led to the discovery of a real animal, which was like the giant and like the colossal squids. Yes. But they were like, it's a tiny god maybe. And you're like, it's not a tiny god. It's just a really, so there is like an understanding of it. And I do think that's interesting of what you said of like maybe people liking stories, because that's always something that's so interesting to me is like, why? Why is there such this, like, I understand like a scientist being like, I want to prove this animal's real, but why do you think the everyday person is like so into cryptids? Because I feel like we keep making up new ones all the time and they're so popular to tell stories about and like see. So like, why do you think that is? What's the deal?
I think one of them is like just thinking about like the Filipino creatures and how we got there. And I was telling you earlier how diverse our culture is, and even before Christianity came in the Philippines, because we have just a vast, like, broad, like, and it's just very rich culture in the Philippines that I'm like, one of the things, like, there's so much islands, and the Philippines basically is just in like one place, right? But there's so many islands, so they would have similar creatures in different regions, but then these different regions have different names for them and different beliefs about the same creature, and I'm just like, don't we do that today too, to create some kind of like magical thing in our heads, or something that we can believe in? Like, we just fill in the gap of what we don't know, and so there's so many things that come up like here and there. And I'm just like, that is so interesting how it's the same creature, but it's different in all of them, and different understanding of people, because they have different beliefs, they have different morals. Maybe a diwata in one place is a guardian and can bless you, but maybe in another place it's also a guardian, but it will curse you, you know? So I think that's thinking more like in the past, but I don't know about modern culture. Like, where do we get there?
I love that you said that, 'cause it makes me think of, like, people joke about this all the time about the difference between like Greek and Roman gods. Because they're like, it's literally the same 12 gods.
Right.
They just call them something different. But it also, this is what I do think is interesting and kind of takes us into modern times, is it reflect the culture. The Greeks looked at their gods and described them differently because they were based off of the values of Greek culture.
Right.
Whereas Rome was so much more like manifest destiny. Like, we're the empire.
Right.
So like, whereas in both versions, like, if they have like gods of war, but there was more of a brutality to the Roman gods of war, where there was more of a cleverness to the Greek gods of war, because that was something different. It was more strategy versus brutality. So that, I think that would have something to play with. Maybe here, where there's something of like, to quote Althea, I went to Reddit, which has all the answers.
Amazing.
As you often like to say. Because I did want to know, why does the U.S. have so many cryptids? Because it does feel like the U.S. has so many regional cryptids. Like, you talked more about like broad mythology, and literally what you just said is that it's sometimes the same creature, they're just calling it something a little different, or it's the same creature, but it operates a little bit differently depending on where you're at. Whereas there are people who are like, no, there's a real distinct difference of, here's our local like monster that we have. And it's like kind of a sense of pride. And it was funny is when I was looking up to see like, is there any study? Is there kind of anything? And a few things that I thought was interesting. Some people talked about just the vastness of the US. Is that it's so big, but it's also so easy to get from one place to the other. Is you can just drive from one side of the country to the other. It'll take a few days, but you can do it. And in this journey, you can hit all of it and take one story to the next place so easily. So it's really easy in that. And then also, I thought this was a very sweet answer. And I do think there might be something to our culture where someone responded and they said, I think that America fell in love with the idea that there's just more to discover. And I'm like, that does make so much sense given the origins of like the US. And that so much of the reason we kept taking more and more ground was this idea of like manifest destiny. Like, you've got to conquer the frontier. Like, you've got to see what's next. It's the reason why we said we're going to build a whole branch of our government that goes to space, because we got to see what's up there. And we're going to name our probes like Discovery and Perseverance, because like that's such a deeply like American ideal. So it would make sense that in modern context, it's like, well, what can we do? What's left to discover? I bet there's like a weird little monster out there. Like, and especially with the internet, I feel like that makes sense.
I love that. I love that we're, I think, to the point of cryptids, in our conversation, that it does show like whatever stories and creature comes up in a place, that it does show people's culture and the ideologies that we that are deeply embedded in the people. And it's like, oh yeah, like it still carries us to this day, like people's beliefs and the things that we, you know, that motivates us.
Yeah.
it still carries us to this day. And
Yeah.
I just think that is so interesting.
I have a super important question for you.
Yes.
If you right now could invent some kind of cryptid, what kind of cryptid, what would you kind of loosely want it to look like? Does it do anything cool, and what would you call it?
I'm going to answer from like not overthinking place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just thought about a little tiny creature that I can put in my hands and I can always have in my pocket.
I love that.
I think it's I want it to stand on 2 legs
I like that.
and have 6 arms.
Incredible. Incredible.
It has a little tiny hat. And I honestly don't know what they're here for, because I feel like that's a loaded question and my mind can only take so much. But
You're right. I'm trying to trick you, and I'm so sorry.
I'm like, I can do whatever I want. I can dream and I can discover things. But I have said that I want a creature that's little, like tiny. What it would do, the purpose of it,
Like, it doesn't have to have one.
but I want to give it one.
Okay, then give it one.
It's for people to be happy and to just be cheerful. It's just a companion. Honestly, whatever you need, it's like a little tiny butler.
It's an
that
emotional
you can
support animal. You're making a
Hey.
designated emotional support animal.
But it's a butler that can make your decisions for you. If you're not making a wise decision, it'll tell you about it. It's just like
It'll poke you.
It's a little tiny, brutally honest like companion, and that's my cryptid.
I love it. What would you call it?
Bud. It's my little bud. How about you?
That's so good.
Have you thought about this?
I was thinking as you were talking, and I was laughing because I was like, we have similar yet different goals, and that amuses me. I feel like whenever I think of cryptids, I think of like wilderness, because I do think that I'm never gonna see any of the weird messed up sea monsters because they scare me.
Right.
I'm not going deep enough to find the weird monsters.
Yes.
But there is such an image in my head of when you think of like, there's something weird out there. Like I picture like a forest, and I picture something like looking at you behind a tree. And I, not malicious, like, cause I do try to like think of it truly as like an animal.
Yeah.
Just like, it's a weird, and the first thing I think of is like, it's a weird looking deer. So that was literally what I thought of. So I thought of like some kind of like deer like animal, but like wrong. So like the kind of thing that makes you go like, that's not quite
just
a
little
deer.
bit unsettling deer.
Yeah, like I think similarly, like maybe like 6 legs, like just like a few legs too many.
Yeah.
I think like the normal
like
like antlers, but
Yes,
also
an ear.
like just like maybe also growing like from neck or like from like another location.
right.
And I think just too many eyes.
Okay.
And
Like
I think
eyes behind
yeah,
the head too.
like maybe not behind the head, but like almost like how like spiders have like the like multiple
yes, like-
eyes.
yes.
I think like just a multiple of almost like Plato's whole thing of like people used to be combined and then they got
Right,
split.
right.
Almost like that, where it's like you're too many deer.
You're too many deer
You're too many
in
deer.
one.
And I do think
It's a
it would-
normal sized deer too.
yeah, I think it's
Okay.
like a standard, like, which, I mean, to be fair, a deer is bigger than you think it is.
It is.
When you,
Yeah.
there's a whole list online that brings me a lot of joy where it's talking about the size of animals.
Yes.
But instead of being like, oh, it's 3 feet, it's like 32, oh, it's just bigger than you think it is,
Yeah.
smaller than you think it is, or about the size you think it is. And it's just a
Amazing.
list of all these animals. It's like raccoons, bigger than you think they are, but not by much. And it's like this whole list, and
I love this list.
and it does help because I go, well, how big do I think a raccoon is? And then I go, okay, now picture it a little bit bigger. And I'm like, I'm probably imagining the right size now.
Yes.
So I do like how relative it is. So I'm like, think about the size of a deer, the way you think the size of a deer is, and then
Yes,
just make it
and
a little
tinge
bit
bigger.
bigger, but like a little bit scrawnier. And that's
Yeah.
this little deer.
Yes.
And I think that it's like pseudo guardian-esque, but I think
Yes.
honestly, it's just a more, I think we think of deer so much as prey animals. I think this is a little bit more of like predator.
Yes.
Like I think it still is mostly vegetarian. Like it's mosely going for like,
But
like maybe
it has
it'll eat bugs or
predator.
like maybe it might eat like mice.
Yeah.
But it'll like hunt them.
Amazing.
It's like a little bit of an aggressor.
It's an aggressive deer.
A little bit of
I
more
love
of
that.
less of a deer in the headlights and more of a deer coming for your headlights.
Yes.
Kind of vibe.
I love this.
That was kind of what I was thinking. And I think
Yes.
obviously it lives in the forest
Yeah.
and thing, but you might see it driving in a backcountry road. And it's not like, oh, it sees you and runs. It sees you and it sees you seeing you. And then
Yes.
it kind of watches you as you go past, trying to decide if it's going to get you. And it's like,
Now
if
I'm
you're,
imagining it. I'm like, I don't know if I want to see it while I'm driving.
that's what I'm picturing.
That's kind of scary.
But it's still got that little
I
cute
love
little
it.
white tail. You know how
Okay,
deers have the
that
little,
adds-
and it still
yes.
has the little speckles, the
Yes.
little. So it's still like,
Cute.
it's kind of cute, but also you're like, you're not right.
You're like unsettling. I love that. While you were talking, I was thinking about how this little tiny creature of mine looks like, and I think I wanted to have like the shape. Its head is kind of like the shape of a frog's,
Ooh.
like, and its body, but it has like salamander arms and like a lizard tail.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I was imagining that it's green, but also it's kind of like translucent and
Are you
holographic.
picturing the Geico lizard?
No,
The Geico gecko.
Geico lizard for its maybe tail or
structure.
arm,
Okay.
but it's a little bit more bulkier than a Geico lizard
I like it.
because the
But
body
he walks
is like
upright
frog.
like a Geico
Yes.
lizard.
The body is like when you see a frog's like.
Yes. Oh, yes,
like
yes,
front-
yes.
Yeah, it's a frog's like
I'm totally tracking with you.
body, and it's like mouth would be like up like this,
I think
but it can like look down and
I like that. I think we
Yeah.
should draw them, and then we
I
should
think
post
we
them on our
should.
Instagram, our drawings of
we
them.
should. I will cheat and have someone else draw them for me. 'Cause I'm
Liz,
not
we
a
need
good
you
drawer.
back.
We need you. We need you.
to come back
I
and
call-
come and draw
I call
for
on my
us.
friend, and it has a little tiny hat.
I like
And
his little tiny
I
hat.
do think also that they are from like nature, but you can have them as pets
that.
willingly. They will give you their consent.
You can find them in a bog or in your local pet store.
Yeah. And they're there willingly.
My weird looking deer does not want to be your pet.
Perfect.
It doesn't necessarily want to harm you. You can feed it, but it's not if you don't want it to follow you home. It's kind of
Yes.
the thing.
It has its scary tendencies.
People aren't domesticating them and raising them like
No,
cows. and
I don't
like
think you
goats.
can.
And it won't let you is the thing.
You can't. Like I've seen one of those videos where one person would open their door and then there's literally just a Highland cow like on their doorstep.
Send me these
Right.
videos.
I don't know where they're at, but if I find them, I'll send them to you. But-
There's a subsect of people right now who were on Tumblr at the same time that I was on Tumblr, and they see me right now. They see me and they know me, and we were following the same blogs.
Okay, I'm not there.
You weren't, and that's okay.
I'm not a Tumblr girl.
The people who know, they feel me right now in this moment.
I love that. Comment down below if you can.
If you can?
If you can feel her right at this moment.
Oh, I just thought you meant like if you have the ability, and I was like, if you still
If
can.
you still can.
Spooky.
No, I love that.
Is there any last thoughts you would like to say?
Any
about
last
cryptids?
thoughts about cryptids? No, I think that's all of my thoughts. I was gonna say like it would be so fun if they also like comment down below or like
think
let
you
us know
should.
in like Instagram or somewhere about a cryptid that you want to create.
If you want to draw your own cryptid and tag us, please do.
That would be
we would
so
love to
funny
see
and
your
cute.
cryptids. If you have like a local cryptid in your area,
Yeah.
comment what it is. If you still don't understand what a cryptid is and you're confused by this episode, you can also let us know.
Yes.
We'll let you. You can have your outlet.
Or do your research.
Either or.
Yes, I think I also would like to know if you're a writer and you've written about cryptids, let us know. That would be so fun.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fun little toe dip into spooky.
Yeah. And I think it's just fitting for the vibes because it's fall and it's October.
Yeah.
And I hope that you have a safe Halloween.
Yes. If you're gonna dress up like a cryptid for Halloween, if you're gonna be Bigfoot or a vampire, which some people consider cryptids.
Yes. Should I dress up as Should I not finish the sentence?
I was just scared you were going to say either the tik or the torso one. And I was like, no.
No, I was going to say if I should dress up like my little creature.
Yes. Can you yes.
Be my own
Yes.
cryptid for Halloween.
Like a totally normal person, do have actual antlers.
Stop.
So we should dress up like
I think
our
we
cryptids.
We should.
I just need a bunch more legs
and eyes. Amazing. I'll just paint myself green. Elphaba?
I was going to do the yell, but I think the yell is copyrighted. I don't know.
We're not going to do it here. Okay, well, that's it, I think, for our episode.
It's been a fun one. This has been a little chaotic, but very fun.
I love that we're able to share like things that we love on here.
Yeah.
So
someone's got to know about him.
Someone's got to know.
It's you.
You're forced to. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, if you loved and enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you're on Spotify, rate us. Only 5 stars. That's the only like option there. I don't think you can go any lower.
And if you try, look out.
A cryptid might get you.
We got some vampire lawyers on speed dial.
We do.
But they only will show up after night.
Yes. All right. Well,
this has been your host, Maya.
And Althea.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. I was going
to say real quick.
Yes.
I can't believe that we did that whole thing. And I forgot to mention my favorite thing in the world, which is that sailors used to think that manatees were mermaids.
Stop!
The part of the mermaid thing started to come to pass because they saw manatees and they were like, look at this beautiful sea woman. And I didn't say it. And it's my favorite thing.
Wait, what are mermaids called when they sing the song?
Sirens.
Sirens.
Mm-hmm.
So did they think that manatees were like beautiful creatures that could like hypnotize them into falling in love?
That's what I love. I think it was like the Spanish, because it's often the Spanish. And I love the idea. There was like someone made a comic of it of like the Spanish man like sailing in a ship and that there's like the fog coming in and he hears a sound and he looks over and he goes, and he's about to jump overboard and his friend's like, stop. He goes, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And then it cuts to a man in the water.
I love that.
Being like, me.
It's so funny. People are so funny.
So powerful.
If you're still here, follow us at WOPC.podcast. I forgot to mention that. I got a little too excited. Okay, goodbye.